Okay, now we're going to go on to our guitar. So for this, we're going to be micing our guitar amp. And one of the most popular microphones for recording guitars, especially electric guitars, distorted guitars, clean guitars, is your Shure SM57. We have it here on the stand. We'll just come and take it off. But dynamic microphone, very popular on lots of recordings, very popular on guitar amps, like we said. The good thing about this SM57 is that they can take high SPL levels, which makes them great for recording really close sources, such as speakers, such as snare drums. And the big thing to note about guitar recording is that your microphone acts as an EQ, basically. So the closer that it is to the speaker, the more proximity you're going to have. So the bigger build up in low end frequencies, being a cardioid microphone. Further away, you're going to have less bottom end, can sound a bit thin, but can also sound a little bit more natural. It depends what tone you're after. So the most important thing to know about recording guitar amps is the amp itself, knowing what speaker you have, and then where you place the microphone in terms of the center or the edge of the speaker is vastly going to change its tone. Just moving the microphone a millimeter is going to give you a difference in tone. So on our speaker, we have what is called the cap edge, and this is going to be the brightest sound of the speaker. And then as we move away from that cap edge into the main speaker cone, the sound's going to sound a little bit duller, and what we're going to have is less top end, really. It's going to act a little bit more like a low pass filter. So your main speakers usually are going to produce high ends for up about 5 kilohertz on its own, but then you get upper end harmonics, especially when moving the microphone closer to that dust cap. A dust cap is going to bring in lots of bite, and it's going to bring in lots of high end. And sometimes in a mix, having a speaker too close to the guitar on its own can sound a bit shrill, but in a mix sometimes it can be enough top end. Other times it can sound too harsh on your ears. So it's really in terms of starting it in the center and then moving it towards the edge of the dust cap just to find that sweet spot. A good starting point for me that I found is just where the edge of the dust cap meet the speaker cone. I like to place it right there. So if our dust cap's here in the middle, usually somewhere around there. And if you can't see the center of your dust cap, a good idea is to get a flashlight or to turn on the torch on your phone and just put it towards the bottom there so you can see inside, and then position the microphone where you want. But we're going to start recording by putting a mic on a stand. And we're going to go and take our microphone, and if you position it right there, so you can see right there in the center, and I've got the microphone basically touching the grill cloth, which is not what you want. I see a lot of guys do that, and the reason for that is, number one, you're going to get way too much proximity, especially if you've got the amp turned up really loud. And then number two is that you can cause some vibrations you don't want from that grill cloth that you're pushing on the capsule. So, good idea is just to make sure that it's close enough, but it's not barely touching, or you can just get about a finger width apart. So maybe like an inch away, and then take it and angle it right there where the dust cap meets the speaker cone. So that's your on axis position right there. It's a basic straight. You can also do off axis, which means tilting the microphone away from the dust cap. If you're doing off axis, it's a good idea to place it in the middle of the speaker cone. So right there in the middle. And then just angle the mic away. And that will knock off some of the high end that dust cap is projecting. So you're ejecting the dust cap pretty much when it's off axis. So you'd have it on axis and then we have our off axis. But I like to start right there where the dust cap meets the speaker cone. And then go record a bit. Great if you have two rooms, you have a live room and a control room like we do here. So you can basically have our amp set up with a mic in our live room and then run cables through that door and go have a listen to it through the monitors in our control room and listen in terms with the mix, and then come back here, move the microphone rather than adjusting EQ or amp settings. So this is a great way of doing it. Make sure as well that you've got your sound right in the room in terms of your amp controls. Make sure it's sounding great before you start adding microphones.